Starting now!
La musica ci fa star bene, è una libidine, è una rivoluzione, quando ci si può parlare con una canzone.
So if you're here, let me know in the chat while we listen to this beautiful Italian song and wait for everyone to join. Tell me where you're from and what language you're learning. Also, can you hear me okay? Ciao mamma, guarda come mi diverto. Hi! From Indonesia, teacher in London. Wow! That's amazing. So, again, if you can hear me okay, don't worry, the music is going to go way later. But if you can hear me okay, just raise your hand as well. And meanwhile, tell me in the chat where you're from. And let's start this party. Okay, so, hi Aneta, hi Mark, hi Michael. Michael, nice to see you here. Hi Sharon, hi Silva. Hi Vanessa, ciao a tutti. If you're learning Italian, you're in the right place. If you're not learning Italian, don't worry, because most of the things that I will say in this presentation will apply to you as well. Okay, from the US, from Canary Wharf, London. Yes, so many people. Excellent. From Germany. Hi Andrews, hi John, hi Jennifer. That's amazing. So many people from all around the world. Well, I myself, I'm from Italy, but I live in the UK. An Italian teacher here, ciao Paola. I hope this presentation will be useful to you. Joanna, ciao. Ciao Helen. Yes. Okay, next thing I want to know, tell me what language you're learning. Tell me what language you're learning. So let's see how many people are learning Italian, but if you're not, don't worry. Italian, Czech, whoa, French, Spanish, German, Hindi. Yeah, Swedish, I love Swedish. I haven't learned it yet, but it's on my list. Japanese, Spanish, yes. Okay, that's good. I myself have learned Spanish as well. Okay, that's amazing. So many different languages. Okay then, so I am gonna stop the music for now, and I am going to start. And I just want to thank you everyone, first of all, for your time, for being here today live, because that's a big deal, and not many people nowadays do show up live. Sometimes, they have other things to do, so thank you very much for your time. I am going to share my screen with you, and just tell me in the chat if you can see my screen, okay? And let's see. Okay, can you see my screen, okay? Can you see my screen, okay? Yes, excellent. Lo vedo, yes, excellent. Okay, so I will go through the presentation, and if you do have questions, please do not put them in the chat, but put them in the Q&A box. There are two little balloons that you will see at the bottom of your screen. If you can click on those, you can put questions there. So it's easy for me to find, because if I cannot find the question in the chat, that's a mess, and you know what's going to happen. Okay, allora, so this presentation is going to be in English, which is my second language. And my name is Ermi Pedata, and I'm from Italy, and I live in the UK, and I'm from the beautiful city of Naples. Have everyone ever been to Naples? And today Well, nowadays I actually live in the UK in Chester. And what I do in the world is I teach enthusiastic lifelong learners like you to learn to speak Italian using creativity, art, and play. Because the reason why I do this is because I think that learning a language can really change your life, because it has been like this for me. And my aim is to give this opportunity to as many people as possible that want to learn my native language, which is Italian. I've also learned other languages because I like learning languages, and I learned, guess what? You can see the photo, Spanish. That was the second language that I learned. And also learn French. And currently I am learning Japanese, which is actually quite a challenge, but I'm really, really enjoying it. And I've been teaching different languages, and over the last years, I've been focusing especially on my native tongue, Italian. And sometimes when people ask you, like, oh, okay, so what did you do to learn to teach Italian? What are your qualification and all of these things? And yeah, I do have like certificates and teaching qualification and all those things. However, I always thought that what really qualified me most to teach Italian or any language is that I've been through this language learning journey multiple times. And so I am very aware of the kind of obstacles and the kind of issues that language learners can come across, and sometimes can get really kind of stuck on. And so since I've been coming across these obstacles as well, I know how to help them to get, say, unstuck. And so one of the obstacles that I come across, and also like some other people have come across, is the fact that when they get to master the basics of Italian or any language really. So when they get to master the basic of Italian or any language really, it's like they get to sort of like an intermediate level, and then they feel that they need to go beyond that classwork. They need to go beyond their textbook. They need more practice. They always ask me, how can I get more Italian practice? How can I really master this language? Because at the moment I am doing all the exercises that my teacher is giving me. I am, I am following the classes, but I'm still not there. I still have not made this language my own. I have not developed my voice in this language. And so today's question, the one that I'd like to ask is, how can you learn and practice Italian in a way that is enjoyable, creative, and inspiring, so that you can really experience this language and make it your own? And obviously, feel free to replace Italian with another language if it's not what you're learning right now. But some of the reference that you will get in this presentation are obviously from Italian, because that's what I'm teaching at the moment. So how can you do this? How can you develop your voice in a foreign language? And obviously you have the usual advice, and the usual advice is, start reading stories in this language. Start watching films with or without subtitles in this language. Or, start to listen to podcasts in this language. Find a language exchange partner. Okay, how many of you have heard this advice, or at least have tried to follow this advice and to do it? Let me know. Either raise your hand or just type yes in the chat. Yes, okay. So I did the same. I tried to follow this advice as well. However, for me, it didn't really work because it felt forced. So every time I tried to read articles in English, not really like it. I didn't really like it because number one, I didn't back then when I was learning English, I didn't even read articles in Italian. So, I mean, why would I do it in English? Or as people would say, oh, try to read some stories, short stories in English. But I never actually enjoyed fiction, not even in my own language, Italian. So when I was learning, like I was trying to read fiction in English, it's like, oh, actually, don't really like it. And then I would stop. Or watch films, same thing. What film should I watch? I don't even know. There was the language exchange partner, find a language exchange partner. That I tried so many times. I tried so many websites that I signed up on, and I was like, oh my goodness. Every time I sign up on this language exchange partner websites, I found someone and then we talk like for 2 or 3 minutes and then we don't know what to say apart from how was your day or how are you. The conversation was really dry. So that was me in front of my computer. I was like, oh my goodness, I really don't know what to say. And so in the end, I would give up. And I found that also other people would give up as well because their heart was not really in it. They found it dry, they found it boring. And so today I would like to offer you a new way to look at these things and find a language practice that can be meaningful to you, that can be inspiring, and that you cannot wait to do. Okay, so the first thing that I would like to say to you to understand this is this. The most meaningful and successful language practices or language learning experiences that I had were the most meaningful languages learning experiences that I had came from life experiences that had nothing to do with language learning. Okay, I'll repeat it one more time. So the most meaningful language learning experiences that I got came from life experiences that had nothing to do with language learning. I'm going to explain this to you by telling a story. And by the way, if you feel that you already kind of understood, put yes in the chat, or if you feel that you agree. So I'm going to tell you my story of how I learned English and how it was not about learning English. So in 2004, I signed up for a language course in Italy, in Naples. It was a degree, a language degree. And at the same time, I was training to become a cartoonist because that's what I wanted to do. My dream as a child was to become a cartoonist. And so when I got to 18 years old, I decided to sign up for this training. And at the same time, as everyone in Italy needs to get a degree, okay, not everyone, but the convention was that after you finish school, you need to get a degree so you can get a job and all these things so that you can have, another safe path. And so I decided to study languages at university as well and do these two things at the same time: training as a cartoonist or an artist and studying languages. I soon realized that doing two packed courses at the same time was not a good idea, and it was fairly overwhelming. And especially when I was going to university and I was following my English class, every single day I would go home in tears because I couldn't understand what the teacher was saying. The class was in English, and the requirement was that you had already an intermediate level of English to understand it, because obviously you have already studied English at school, and so they expected you to have this kind of level. But my level was not there. And so I was feeling extremely disheartened. And in the end, I just decided to quit. I said, you know what? I don't care. I don't want to become a translator. My dream is to become a cartoonist, and that's what I'm going to focus on. I'm going to become a cartoonist. I'm going to become an artist. And so time goes by, and while I am, doing all my best to improve my artistic skills, and I decided to share my art online. And I joined a community of artists online called DeviantArt. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but DeviantArt is basically a website where you can post your art, and then you can get in contact with other artists as well, and they can give you feedback, and then you can also comment the artwork, and you can make friends with them, and sometimes you also get commissioned, and so you can start to build like your clientele on this website as well. And so I started to share all my art on this website, and I was writing all the captions and descriptions of my artwork and also all the posts in Italian. And at some point, I noticed that people were not only commenting in Italian, but sometimes I was getting comments from people from other countries, just like you, like from all around the world. And all these people were commenting in English. And I was like, okay, so probably they don't understand what I written in Italian there. Maybe I should start writing my captions and description of my artwork and posts in English as well. And that's how I started to write all my things in English. And that's how I went back to English, to my very basic English. And so word by word, sentence by sentence, and with a lot of dictionary in the middle, I tried to write all my posts on DeviantArt in English. And all this writing in English actually, made me get the writing bug, because I was writing a lot, and I started also to blog in English. I also started a journal in English. I was really enjoying it. And this brought me back to languages. This brought me back to something that I had kind of forgotten, but now it was back into my life. And so I decided to go back to university and study languages again after I finished my training at the cartoonist school. And this time I was of the right level in that class, and I could follow, and I completed my course and completed with passing with flying colors. So I want you to draw your attention on the how this happens. So what happened was that basically I went back to English, I went back to languages because I had a bigger goal, because I had something, a dream that I wanted so badly that I was like, I really want to share my art with more people. I really want to do this, and I need to speak their language. I need to do it. And that's what really made me persevere. And that's how I came again back to my English practice, and how while practicing it, I developed my level and so on. And so I would like to offer you this advice first. Connect your Italian learning or language learning to a bigger goal, so that you can learn and practice your Italian or any language that you're learning in a meaningful way. For me, writing my descriptions of my artwork was meaningful. I had a goal. It was important, and that's why I was persevering. And so you may wonder, but hey, how, I don't know, like, how do I find this bigger goal? I'm not very sure. So I have some questions that you can start asking yourself. Ask yourself, why are you learning Italian? And knowing this language, what would you allow you to be, do, or have? And what can you do to connect your why to your Italian learning practice? And then what is one activity that you do regularly and that you can link to your Italian learning? So it's all about why you are learning that language, and connect that language to something, a goal or a dream, something that you're doing right now in your life that is meaningful to you. And now, I don't mean just think about this question, really write it down, because when you write things down, when you write the answer to these questions, you will start to find some patterns, some really powerful insights that can actually lead you to find very creative and out of the box solutions that can help you practice the language that you're learning in a way that you really, really like. And by the way, if you want, you can download the workbook for this presentation with these questions. So don't worry if you can not like writing them down all now, but they're all in the workbook. And in the workbook, there is also some space for you to write. And you can do it at thelanguageless.com/passionpower. So don't worry about writing everything down. But first of all, let me check in with you. How do you feel about this? How does this feel? Before I get to my second story, I'm going to get a sip of water as well. So let's see. Love it. Sounds very sensible. This is 100% exact. It makes sense to me. Okay, excellent. I'm glad that you are resonating with this. Now, you may come up with some objections as well, and that's fair enough, because you may actually think like, but Ermi, you wanted to become an artist, you really like doing that, and so you connect English to that. That's fine. But to be honest with you, I don't have anything in my life that I can connect my language to and that I can do it regularly. So it's not like that you have like you are doing your art as a job, and so yeah, that was your job. But to be honest, I don't really like my job. I cannot even imagine to do my job with Italian. And so if that's what you're thinking, well, I would like to offer you another story. I'd like to tell you another story where probably you'll find some more insight. And that's about how I learned Spanish. So when I started to learn Spanish, I started at university with English. So when I went back again for the second time, I chose English and Spanish. And so while I was studying Spanish, I thought, oh, I should do the same thing that I did with English. I should start to find a community of artists that speak Spanish, and then I can share my artwork on there and then write all my things in Spanish, and that will help me to practice it. That's gonna be great. So that's what I did. I found Google is always your best friend, when you're doing research. So I found a community of Spanish artists, and I started to get in touch with them, share my artworks on there. But then, here's what I found out. I found out that my heart was not in it. It felt forced again. And then I was like, oh, but why? Why does this feel forced? Before it was working really well. I don't know what's happening. And then I realized that my why, the reason why I chose to learn Spanish was different from English. I chose to learn English because it was helpful for me in order to share my art. but Spanish instead. Why did I pick this language? Well, when you go to do a language degree, you need to pick 2 languages in Italy. And I picked Spanish because it was the second most widespread language in the world. And it just fascinated me that if I could speak English and Spanish, basically I could speak with a really big part of the world. And so I was really fascinated by this idea. So my reason to learn Spanish was kind of different. It was more abstract. And so I was thinking like, oh, so what can I do to practice my Spanish in a way that doesn't feel forced? And what came up to me was music. So in Italy, we are lucky because, we have obviously Italian music. It's a big part of the Italian culture. But we also obviously sometimes have English music, like English speaking music. Yes, songs. Okay, not music. And we also have Spanish songs sometimes that are aired on the radio. And I used to love Spanish songs. And sometimes I would listen to a song, or, this song would be on the radio. I was like, oh yeah, I know this word. And, I would pick up words. And that would spark my curiosity, and I would be like, oh, I'd like to know more about this song because actually I really like it. Let's find out the lyrics. And I would find lyrics on the internet, and then I would be like, oh, I'd like to translate the whole thing now. I want to know what it says because I really like this song. And so I was finding all these Spanish songs, and I remember on my way to lessons listening to them as a warm-up, like to tune in into the Spanish language. Does anyone does that? Like you use Spanish songs or songs in your language just to help your brain to tune in into that language before you start studying it? Well, I used to do that. And I started to also, before every Spanish study session, I would start with a song. I would like, okay, now it's time to warm up. I'm just going to put this Spanish song and just do karaoke all day. Not all day, but just before starting studying, just to motivate myself a little bit. And that's how I was running. So yeah, that's how I learned Spanish. So that's how I learned Spanish, because listening to all these songs and finding vocabulary, taking vocabulary from these songs to use into my my own vocabulary in speaking was really helping me to develop my vocabulary skills. And sometimes, I would speak in my class, and I would come up with a word that I would have heard in a song, and my teacher's like, yeah, good word. I say, yeah, it's from this song. That's where I got it from. So that's how I was doing. That was actually my point of connection there. And here is what happens next. When I came to Chester here in the UK, I was obviously I was still like, at that point I had an intermediate level of Spanish, and I was using these songs to develop my vocabulary. And so it was like every time I would listen to these songs, it was kind of like a vocabulary revision inside my head. Okay, so that was helping me a lot to develop my vocabulary. So by the end of my degree, I was at an intermediate level, good intermediate level. But when I came here to Chester, I also decided to join a salsa class just to make friends, because obviously, salsa, Spanish music, yeah, I'm in it. And I also really like dancing. So when I went to the salsa class, obviously more Spanish music, more Spanish songs, but also Spanish friends. I happened to make friends with a bunch of Spanish people that were going to these classes, Spanish speakers, and we just had fun. And with them, obviously, I started to speak Spanish, and I was I was not extremely confident, but I was trying, and then by trying, obviously, you get more confident. I was making loads of mistakes, but who cares? We were friends, so they were very, very, very helpful. Um, and you see, that point of connection again, the Spanish music, the salsa, led me to people that had that same interest and that also speak the language that I wanted to learn. And so now I am not talking about having a language exchange partner. That's different, because when you look on a website and you just find a random person to practice a language with, that's not really like a friendship that you're developing. It's a transaction. You are going to this person to practice this language, and they're going to practice your another language, the one that you speak, with you. It's a transaction, and that's why it doesn't work. And also, it doesn't work because you have pretty much nothing in common, or you need to be really lucky to have something in common with this other person. However, when you find people within an environment that is interesting to you, and in my case, salsa, then you find people that have your same interests. And then if they happen to speak the language that you're learning, excellent. Now you can talk to these people in Italian or Spanish, and you get to practice Spanish. But your aim is not to practice Spanish. Your aim is to develop a friendship. So can I ask how many people resonate with this? Language exchange has always been a disaster. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. But yeah, that has been the same for me. I totally understand. Yeah, I resonate. Excellent. Okay. So, yes, it's a transaction. I met my Italian friend on a holiday in France. We had French in common before we could speak Italian English well enough. Okay. So, yeah. So, I learned Czech in Bards. Excellent. Yes, because again, you have a context that is shared by the other people. So this brings me to my next point. Connect your language learning to something that you are passionate about. And when you do that, you will practice the language in a way that it fires you up because you want to do it, because you're passionate about it. Because for me, it was songs, because I really like those songs. I really want to find out what they're saying. And also, if you share that passion with other people, this will allow you to connect to like-minded people that may also speak that language. And it was the case for me for Spanish. So I am going to give you more details on how you can actually apply this practically later. But I just wanted to let you know that these things really, when you find out these things, they really stay with you. And for me, I could not stop thinking about, oh my goodness, for me, Spanish songs were really good. Like they actually, I got lots of vocabulary from them. And so this inspired me to actually trying to bring this into my teaching practice for Italian. And this is why nowadays I use Italian songs in my teaching practice a lot. I mean, we even started this class, even though it's in English, with an Italian song. And last year, I decided to bring this together in a program called Sing and Speak Italian, where basically we develop our Italian speaking skills using songs. And having songs as a baseline, and then use them as a way to develop vocabulary, but also speaking fluency. And within this program, we also do a workshop called Sing and Speak Italian, Dance and Speak Italian. So Dance and Speak Italian came from an idea that I had, and it was translating a whole song, an Italian song, with dance movement. And when you do that, you really experience the song. It's actually really stay with you. And people were amazed by the end of the workshop. They were like, oh my goodness, I'm never going to forget this Italian song anymore and what it means. Why? Because they were really experiencing the song with their body, and they basically were creating an experience. They were having an experience in Italian. They were having an experience in their foreign language. And if you think about it, it's exactly what happens when you go abroad and you are using your language with other people, and so you experience the language with all your senses. And this is why when you go back home, you still remember, oh, I remember that time in this place when I was in Italy. I learned about this kind of expression because this person said it to me in that moment. So your episodical memory is activated, and this is what helps you to remember things better. And so what I'm trying to say here is that you don't need to go abroad to experience the language. Of course, you should, you will, and it's amazing. But you can still experience the language at home by creating experiences in Italian or in the foreign language that you're learning, by connecting it to your passions. For me, it was music and dance. For you, it may be something else. Maybe you like yoga. Maybe you are going to do some Italian yoga classes on YouTube next time. For you, it may be, I don't know, cooking. Maybe you like cooking. So just think about the things that you love and see how you can connect them to your language learning. So here is again some questions for you to reflect on. What do you really love doing? And what are you really interested in? How can you connect what you love with language you're learning? And where could you find like-minded people that speak Italian that love the same thing as you do? Again, don't worry about writing all these down. They are in the workbook. You can download at this address, thelanguageless.com/passionpower. Actually, I'll also put it in the chat if you want to do it right now. But the thing is, here is how you go about it. Once you answer those questions, then you answer those questions, and then you've chosen something that you're interested in. Then you look for the keywords in Google in your tag language, and then you are actually trying to find website, videos, resources. Okay, and once you find those videos, website, or resources, then look for the comments, look for engagement in under that video. So for example, you look for a yoga video in Italian, excellent, watch it, do it, but then start to connect with the people in the comments, what they're saying. And if you find someone that is kind of nice, oh, actually, I like how I engage in the comments with this person, then go ahead and bring the conversation somewhere else. And now you will have something to talk about with that person, because now you have something in common. Okay, now obviously here I mean email, okay? So next time that you are looking for a language learning practice, don't look at, I'm gonna watch a film in Italian, but rather, actually, I am going to watch a film in Italian that I already watched and I really, really like, and I'm sure you will find it because most films in Italian are dubbed. So all the American films, TV series, they're all dubbed in Italian. So I'm sure you'll find. So find something that you really, really like. And if you are into art, creativity, music, dance, self-expression, you're my crowd. And I have collected for you some resources, some Italian related resources in the workbook in this for this presentation, and you can find them within the workbook. I'm going to show you what it looks like. Just 1 second. So where is my screen sharing thing? Oh, here it is. Okay, so that's the workbook, what it looks like. There are the questions to answer. And then at the end, you will find how, find some people that share your interest and they also speak that language. And then at the end, I put a few resources. You can find I put some YouTube channel in Italian where you can learn how to draw. I put some other yoga, my favorite yoga channel, because I like doing yoga in Italian. And then I also put some music playlists that you can listen to in Italian. I put some cooking channels. I also put my workshop on how to learn Italian through songs. It's free, so you can have access to it if you love music and if you want to find out more about Italian music and songs. But whatever you choose to do, here's what I want you to remember from this presentation. I want you to remember this. When you find your why, when you know your why, when you know why you're learning a language, and when you know what you're passionate about, then you can connect that to your language learning. And that's how you get a meaningful, inspiring language learning. And that kind of language practice can also bring you to connect to like-minded speakers that share those passions, that share that why. And that will lead you to nurture even more your passion, nurture even more your goals and your why. And that will become a cycle. And it will become a cycle of a language learning that is so inspiring that you will never want to stop. And now, if you agree with this, I hope it resonates with you. If you agree with this, raise your hand. And I wish all of you a very happy and enjoyable language learning, Italian learning, Spanish learning, whatever you're learning. And if you have any questions, I'm here. I am going to answer the questions. So I'm going to go into the little question and answer thing. And if you want to find me somewhere else, this is where you can find me, languagerus.com or youtube.com/ermipedata. And if you want, you can download the workbook at that address as well for this presentation. Okay. So, okay, these were not really questions. There were just people that probably wanted to write it in the chat and they just missed the thing. Never mind. Okay. So if you have a question, you can put it in the Q&A box. And here is, I just put in the chat also how to download the workbook. But yeah, unless you have any question, I really wish you a super language learning. Have fun with it, connect to the things that you really like, and hopefully I'll see you soon, very, very soon again. Ciao a tutti! Bye everyone! Bye everyone! Ciao, 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 ciao! Grazie, prego!